Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is yet another top secret meeting by Humza Yousaf with foreign powers that you and I are not allowed to know about. Okay, this story comes from the Daily Express, who have done a FOI on a meeting from January of this year with Humza and a Chinese delegate. So their headline is "Secretive SNP government redact all minutes from Humza Yousaf's meeting with the Chinese diplomat despite Grangemouth discussion." An exclusive, the former First Minister met with Zhang Biao, the Consul General, in January, but the full meeting minutes were completely redacted despite important topics like Grangemouth refinery being discussed. The secretive Scottish Government completely redacted all minutes from a top-secret meeting between Humza Yousaf and a Chinese diplomat. The former First Minister met with Zhang Biao, the Consul General, in January the 16th, with one of the topics of discussion being the Grangemouth refinery. PetroChina is one of the owners of the Scottish site, with plans announced last November to shut the premises down by 2025. This would cause hundreds of job losses and be economically devastating for the region. Mr Yousaf met Mr Biao at Bute House just a month after his Constitution and Europe Minister Angus Robertson flew out to Beijing to glad hand officials. His trip was criticised by some within the SNP, who pointed out that China is a hostile country towards the United Kingdom and has been accused of spying in Westminster. But in a bid to further relations between the Scottish Government and China, they held a summit in January to build on the reinvigorated relationship between the two countries. However, when the Scottish Daily Express attempted to get the minutes from this meeting, it was fully redacted. Government officials relied on Section 32 of the Freedom of Information legislation, which states its disclosure under this Act would be likely to prejudice substantially relations between the United Kingdom and any other state, relations between the United Kingdom and any international organisation or international court, the interest of the United Kingdom abroad, or the promotion or protection by the United Kingdom of its interests abroad. Which is all a posh way of telling you we're no telling you. Even though there is a public interest clause because of the openness and transparency, and because of elevated interest in the Scottish Government's international work in the media, the request was still redacted, as it prevents damage to relationships between the UK Government and other states and interests in Scotland being able to build relationships with other countries. Briefing notes prepared ahead of the discussion revealed that the pair were set to discuss the Grangemouth refinery amid a current campaign to save it. The SNP have been accused of not doing enough to save jobs on the site, with PetroChina owning half of it with INEOS. Mr Yousaf was told to ask him for help to secure a long-term future for the refinery, whilst maximising the opportunities for the workforce to support planned new operations such as biorefinery. He confirmed that Mr Robertson met with senior figures in the company to discuss the future of the site. The briefing added the engagement was valuable in signalling Scottish Government's interest in a sustainable future for Grangemouth, and lines of communication will remain open. The recent announcement regarding the Grangemouth refinery is a concern to the Scottish Government, and we wish to ensure the refinery continues for as long as possible at Grangemouth. I would welcome your support in ensuring that we can secure a long-term future for the refinery, whilst maximising the opportunity for the workforce to support planned new operations such as biorefinery. But the public won't be able to find out if this support was achieved, as the entire meeting is redacted. China reacted furiously to the UK Government accusing officials of subterfuge, with the two countries currently at war over the arrest of two former government aides over this scandal. So there we go. It's a bit mad that Humza hasn't been the First Minister for maybe a month, 6 weeks by now. But stories of his secrecy still coming back to haunt us, and that's just down to the length of time it takes for an FOI, because those that are keen Viewers of the channel remember my FOI about the payments to Gaza, to UNRWA. That came about from an FOI I put in January, and the stuff came out around about March, but it wasn't. I mean, it's still outstanding because I'm still trying to get more information from my original question. So that's what, 6 months on, and my own FOI is still not complete. So there'll probably be more stuff still to come out about Humza that folk have put FOIs in, but it's shady stuff. But it just keeps worrying me that he just seen himself as a world leader when he wasn't. He was a jumped up council leader for an area of the United Kingdom called Scotland, which is absolutely zero foreign policy decisions to make. So I don't know why this thing where he's been trying to talk to the Chinese guy to help save Grangemouth, which is fine, but if that's all it was discussed, then why does it have to be redacted when the public already know that that's part of the meeting, because they told us in papers released before the meeting exactly, this is what we want to talk to him about. So it's absolutely bonkers, and I think it's probably been, they'd have been playing the devil's advocate at this point as well, because back in January we still had a coalition government with the Greens, who, if he was trying to keep the thing open for its current use, the Greens would have a big issue with that because they're barking at the moon. So there might be things like that they just don't want us to know. But what it is they don't want us to know, I'd really love to know, but that's me just being nosy. So Humza, how many meetings is that with people? And none of them are friendly, by the way. He's not had any redacted meetings with folk from, I don't know, Isle of Man. It's China. It's going to Qatar. It's, meeting Palestinians. It's meeting, Middle Eastern people, Turkey, all these things. It's never a normal country. He's not had any meetings with the US ambassador that's got heavy redacted stuff. It's always secretive stuff about absolutely stinking, smelly countries all over the world. But at least this one, to be fair, is a Muslim one. Do you know what I mean? This is a bit left field for Humza. He had a meeting with somebody that wasn't a Muslim, because that was his norm. But my own FOI, I'm still trying to get an answer to the question asked in January. I asked him 2 questions, and that was, the one that's still outstanding is, can he justify how they used the source of funds? Because I'm adamant that the source of funds cannot be used for money to go to either Gaza or the UNRWA, because they don't fill any of the criteria. So I still await. There will be correspondence in the building somewhere about why they should give it to them through the International Development Fund that was used. This was after I was told it was the HEF fund, which could have been used. That money could have been used, the humanitarian fund, to give money to Gaza or the UNRWA, but it was used up. There was no money left in it. There wasn't enough to give from the $500,000 original one. So they couldn't use that because they didn't have enough funds in it. So they've just battered it into another fund. And some of the words, once I get some more correspondence back that I'm expecting, I'll do a full video on it. But the last one I got is just laughable about, going on about kids dying in Gaza and all this nonsense. And that's not the question. And just to be perfectly clear, the story was he overturned a decision by the Scottish Government ministers and advice from the Department of External Affairs, where they agreed to give £200,000 to UNICEF for a clean water programme, and that was completely overturned. It was up to 250, and it was to give it to UNRWA, and that's the whole crux of my problem. That's what I don't have not too happy about it. Nobody would have had a problem with giving it to UNICEF, because they were doing a fundraiser at the time for clean water, and that was what the then First Minister went to the Cabinet with a request to give more money to Gaza, because we'd already gave them $500,000, but to give a second tranche of 250,000 because the kids in Gaza needed water. That's why the Department of External Affairs recommended UNICEF, because they had a clean water fundraiser going at the time. So there we go. More strange meetings by Humza, more redacted minutes, and you and I don't get to know why he met Zhang Bai of China, the Consul General. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel, and as long as you're no Humza Yousaf or one of these shady people that he meets or was meeting frequently, have a great day. Cheery bye now.